One, two, 1, 2, 3, hit it! And with that, we welcome you to a special Monday night Selection Saturday Kickoff Show episode. One of these days, I'm going to have to learn the words to the fight song. But the Oregon Ducks, as I'm sure you probably already know, they got the biggest game of the weekend on the horizon, right on up in Seattle against those doggone Fuskies of Washington. But that's not the only game we're going to be featuring amongst the big ones. The big ones on the way, and the card just dropped on the floor. Nothing ever goes according to plan on this show. Nothing, I tell you. Pardon me a moment. Go ahead and take a look at the ball caps while I grab the card. Oregon and West Virginia being represented. I mean, this is kind of like Woody Page and his chalkboard on the around the horn. So we'll throw up a couple of different caps. Maybe. I do have a lot of ball caps, but I won't bore you with them. Anyway, it's Monday night, and we are now at that point in the calendar year where games will be coming in bunches. Not so much in games, but on days. We already went through it last week, starting with last Wednesday, and now tomorrow begins another week's worth of college football. So what we're going to do tonight is knock off all the Tuesdays, Wednesdays, Thursdays, and Fridays games in one shot. And before we even dive into that, before we even dare dive into it, we must tell you the big ones for this weekend. You already know one of them. These are the games featuring two teams in the top 25. You already know about Oregon and Washington. That'll be the last pick picked. But so too, the Miami Hurricanes. Oh, I'm going to have fun picking on the Canes. Oh, I'm going to have a lot of fun picking on the Canes. But we won't do it tonight. Number 25, Miami, visiting number 12, North Carolina. And it's only going to get better from there. Also, number 10, USC, and number 21, Notre Dame from South Bend. Woo-hoo-hoo. That's another one I'm going to have some fun with. And just because both of these schools want to be on par with Oregon and Washington, let's just call it the undercard. Number 18, UCLA, and number 15, Oregon State. Yes, I have to pick between UCLA and Oregon State in the big ones. That's why they're the first ones that'll get picked when we get to the big ones. The bigger the game, the further down you go. And when I say further down, I mean further up, I should say. So UCLA and Oregon State's pretty much the undercard for everything else on the big ones bill. But we won't worry about that until Saturday. Right now, let's go ahead and dive into the Tuesday games, beginning with, we got helmets and lanyards. Helmets and lanyards. Helmets and lanyards. Just to make sure, we'll do the helmet ones first for each day's games, and then we'll close it up with the lanyards. So Tuesday we have 2 helmet games and 1 lanyard game to pick from, beginning with Louisiana Tech and Middle Tennessee. And last I checked, Middle Tennessee is continuing its free fall, and it kind of bothers me in some respects because, for one, when you get to this point in conference play, that's when teams with the biggest senses of urgency come to the forefront. Louisiana Tech, by the way, is 3-3 right now. So they got a ways to go. They are right at the crossroads of conference play. A win here would be a good little springboard for them. A loss, and well, that could potentially, depending upon how the rest of the schedule plays out for them, it's either boom or bust. The way I figured, it's like this. We're going to go with the Texters. The Bulldogs on the road against the Blue Raiders of Middle Tennessee. This one here should be televised, and I think it is, but it's not on any network that I have, unfortunately. Liberty and Jacksonville State. Here is all you need to know. Liberty is undefeated, 5-0. A win for them. They're bowl eligible, and they get a spot on the helmet tree for 2023. Jacksonville State is already at 5 wins. A win for them, and they would gain bowl eligibility along with helmet tree eligibility. There's a lot at stake for both of them. And yet they won't show it. And I can't remember who's carrying it. I want to think maybe the CBS Sports Network, which I don't have, or some other network. But you know, I'd imagine Liberty is going to get their eligibility later. This is Jacksonville State's time right now. I'm gonna ride with the Gamecocks. Yes. Jacksonville State, in their first year in the FBS, will unbelievably get a bowl bid. And here's to a great game for 2 good, very good football teams. I'm sorry, I gotta put that over here. We're done with that one. Now comes to the lanyard selection. And I'm so thrilled to see this happen. Coastal Carolina and Appalachian State. I'll tell you what. I wish I remembered the name of the stadium and the city it resides in for Appalachian State, because I actually love the whole backdrop. The trees, behind the goalposts. Not something you would find in your average small, mid-major stadium, but it's not exactly going in between the hedges. It's a beautiful stadium. I grew to love Appalachian State. In fact, I think they're one of my top 10 favorites. And I only say that in part because with Northwestern having been knocked off the top 4 and off its perch after all the hazing allegations went down, Appalachian State's kind of moved up a little bit, and they're probably my favorite of the small mid-major schools. Not to be outdone, Coastal Carolina is no pushover. When it comes to the Sun Belt Conference, I think it's on par with a lot of the big major conferences in terms of competitive play. And it's clearly evident this year. James Madison, Georgia State, Georgia Southern, and the teams that are about to go down tomorrow night. So who wins? Well, think of it this way. Let's go, Mountaineers! And they won't be the only ones I'm picking. Appalachian State over Coastal Carolina. Oh, and by the way, Coastal, please wear the teal helmets tomorrow night. I love those. They're sharp, just like the field they play on. So that takes care of the Tuesday portion. On to Wednesday, and we have two matchups. One helmet, one lanyard. Here we go. We'll do the helmet one first. Sam Houston and New Mexico State, that's a no-brainer. Unlike Jacksonville State, Sam Houston's first foray into the FBS has not been all pleasant for them. They have yet to win a game. So with that being said, I'm going to take Diego Pavia and the New Mexico State Aggies to win at home over Sam Houston. The Bearcats' best days may be behind them, but the future may very well be looking bright. It's just going to take time and patience. Eventually, they will be on competitive par with their conference counterparts. And the like, for that matter. And I may never understand this one. UTEP and FIU, they're going to be on ESPN2 Wednesday night. I don't know the records, but I know enough to the point where UTEP is not very good. FIU is only slightly better. And it's one of the few times out of the year I actually get to wear the FIU lanyard. So here you go, ladies and gents. We're taking the FIU Panthers to beat the Texas El Paso Miners on Wednesday. And there's Wednesdays out the door. On to Thursday, we got two lanyards to sport for you guys. First and foremost, SMU and East Carolina. Let's give you a tale of the tape. SMU has been on again, off again, on again, off again, on again, off again. The cycle has been win-loss, win-loss, win-loss. So, if the cycle repeats itself, actually I think it's loss, win, loss, win, loss, win. So if the cycle repeats itself, then that should mean that SMU will lose this week against an East Carolina team that's only won one game so far, and the game they won was against Gardner-Webb, a team for whom I picked to beat East Carolina just a couple weeks ago. I am not going to make the same mistake twice with East Carolina. It's going to be a long road to respectability, but if they were to somehow dig deep, and dig themselves out of the hole they're in, they may just sneak into the bowl party. I am going to take East Carolina at home over SMU, as much as I hate to go against SMU because I like the Mustangs. I don't know a lot about SMU in terms of star players, because the one star player I do know now is the quarterback of Wisconsin. And rather than boring you with that information, I'm going to go on to the next pick, which I couldn't wait to do. West Virginia and Houston. Oh, this is delicious. Oh, this is juicy. WVU and Dana Holgerson. We meet again. Oh, this is going to be too good. And I'm about ready to sneeze. Sorry about that. I'm trying to sneeze and I can't. Well, I was trying to sneeze the words "you suck," but I couldn't do it. Sorry about that. Ain't gonna sneak up on me now. But anyway, not to delay this any longer, How are we to think that WVU victory over Pitt would fare for both teams? That one game could make a season or break a season. And both teams are finding that out right now. Pitt, for obvious reasons, they got the gauntlet staring them in the face right now with Louisville this Saturday. Later on, Fresno State, wrong. Florida State, Notre Dame, and Duke. There's no way they're going to go bowling this year. No way in the world. West Virginia, meanwhile, I looked at their schedule, and they got a very good chance of getting a bowl bid. They do. Think about this for a minute. They still have to play. They got Oklahoma State next week. UCF, I think they're both on the road, and both look winnable. They get BYU at home, and God knows we all want to see any team beat BYU. There will be that hiccup at Oklahoma, so we're just going to consider that one a loss unless something out of the ordinary happens. And they don't play Texas. So for Neil Brown, whose hot seat was getting dangerously close to inferno-like proportions, that seat, I think, is going to continue its cool-down period, and in doing so, going on the road and sticking it where the sun don't shine on Dana Holgerson. Ha! Let's go, Mountaineers! West Virginia, beat the living shit out of Houston. Will you please? Sorry I dropped the bomb on that word, but yeah, it's personal. I have never been a Holgerson fan. Finds more ways to lose games as a coach, and this will be no different. West Virginia had better take advantage of it. So that takes care of the Thursday slate. Now, Friday, 2 more lanyards to put around my neck and 1 helmet selection to bestow upon you all, and we'll do the helmet one first to get it out of the way. Fresno State and Utah State from Utah State. I couldn't think of the city in which they play in. But here's where we have it here. Utah State is trying to put themselves back over the 500 mark. They had an impressive win over Colorado State this past weekend. Fresno State, meanwhile, after that great start, they lost to Wyoming, which, by the way, I predicted correctly that Wyoming would upset Fresno State, only because Fresno State was ranked. So here's Fresno State now on the road looking to make amends, and in doing so, they will put themselves in position for bowl eligibility and helmet tree eligibility. So we're going with the Bulldogs. For the second time in the show, we have Louisiana Tech's Bulldogs and now Fresno State's Bulldogs, which now leaves us with our 2 lanyard selections on Friday, beginning with Tulane and Memphis. You know, Memphis beating Boise State has proven the point for me that Memphis will very much be in the conversation for a bowl game. A win over Tulane, I think, would definitely help the cause. And I tell you what, as good as Tulane has been, I'd be hard-pressed to find a team that would be more amped to play Tulane than Memphis. The only thing I wish is that Memphis do away with those god-awful striped helmets. I don't care if it's blue. I don't care if it's gray. Just get rid of them. Go with the old schoolers. Come on. This Can you see it? I didn't get it over the camera. Yeah, go with that. Go with that. I'm taking you this week. You're at home. Do your due diligence. Go old school. And take Tulane down Old School Boulevard with you to where they used to stink. So that now leaves us with Stanford and Colorado. This is a no-brainer. I'm going to wrap up the show just by putting the lanyard on. But I'll tell you something. Arizona State gave Colorado some fits over the weekend. And Stanford could be primed for an upset. They definitely have the smarts, just hadn't translated on the field, but still, I still believe Colorado's going to be in the conversation for a bowl game. Stanford, not so much. So there you have it, ladies and gents. All the Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday picks all in. And the fun starts tomorrow night with Louisiana Tech at Middle Tennessee, Liberty and Jacksonville State, the game they should put on television, and the one that they are putting on television that I will be glued to, Coastal Carolina and Appalachian State. We will see you back Saturday for all the picks, including the big ones. To recap, UCLA, number 18 against Oregon State, number 15. Number 10, USC, and number 21, Notre Dame, number 25, Miami, and number 12, North Carolina, and the biggest one of them all, number 8, Oregon, and number 7, Washington. And that, friends, will do it. From all of me to all of you, this has been your Monday night edition of the Selection Saturday Kickoff Show. Until Saturday, where we break out more helmets and lanyards, this is yours truly, Brandon Rotherman, the host of the Selection Saturday Kickoff Show. We will talk to you soon. I'm out.